Boy, oh boy, 10x today. 10x was the crazy stock of the day. Let me pull over the P&L here. I'll show you what happened. Today was great. So, I'm sure everyone who traded today kind of knows what was going on with 10x. So, pre-market, this thing went nuts too. Let's pull this chart back, the 1 minute chart, to the pre-market. So it went all the way from 6, I think it was actually down here, yeah, just somewhere around 6, all the way up to 10 bucks. That's, 62%, 60 whatever percent pre-market. So it's hard to get in for these, but this actually kind of flagged for 4 minutes. It actually gave a decent little consolidation. So I thought, okay, if it starts to surge up, I'll get in to for the break of these levels, right? So that's exactly what happened. So 9:30 when the bell rang, it broke the pre-market highs of 1040, and it made it all the way up to 11:19 in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. So, I was able to capitalize on that. Right after the bell rang, I bought 300 shares at 10:35. So right before this break at 10:40, 2 seconds later, I sell 200 of the shares at 68. I think I locked in, what is that, 60 bucks profit or something. And then 3 seconds after that, I locked in the last 100 shares at 60. That was all within this first little push. And then what did I do? I got in at the end of the candle again. And I made 10 cents or so on about 100 shares. See, this is where I could have made a lot more money today. I could have been up maybe 350, 400, because the scalps that I was taking, I reduced my risk maybe too much. So I could only afford to take 300 shares, and we know my max position size is 600 shares from my spreadsheet, right? So March was like 400 or 500, February was 200. So I'm at 600 shares right now. So I only took 300. So what I should have done is kept taking maybe 300, but definitely 200 share positions for these scalps, because I wasn't adding that much profit each time, at least compared to the first profit. So if your max position size is 600 shares and you use 600, or I'll use 300 in this example because I used 300, then maybe 2/3 of that, or 200 shares, is actually better, because I could have doubled the profit on each scalp. And I scalped this so many times. You can see right here. 10x bought, sold, bought 300 shares at 390, sold 10 cents higher, and then 100 shares were actually a 15-cent loss. But I came ahead on that trade just by a little bit. And then BDR came up. I'll just show you the video, actually. The video will be a lot better. So, like I said, pre-market, this 10x was kind of consolidating in this area. Wait, what just happened? Oh, okay, 10x was consolidating in this area, as you remember, which was right here on the chart. So that's what I was seeing pre-market. The market opens in about 20 seconds, you can see here, at 9:30. So I'm just waiting, it's riding this 9 moving average, so it's looking really, really good. And on the daily, we're at a level of resistance at $10. So as long as we're above $10 and we keep going, it's clear sailing until the next resistance point, which is really, 11 bucks or 12.64, which was the previous recent high on the daily. So market opens in 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and the market is now open. It's already propping up. So 10:30, 10:35, I see that, I get in, because I know that's what all the other traders are thinking too. We'll get in for this break, and also everyone who went short in this area thinking it was going to dump, they have to cover into that so they don't have a huge loss, or at least they should be. So 50, it breaks the pre-market highs. 50, 65, I take the profit a little early. You saw I put my order up there at 68. Let's watch it one more time. So I put an order at 68 and then again at 63 or something. So it's open. I take my position. Sell 200 shares. Don't get filled. And then I bail the other 100 shares on the bid. So that was pretty great. Now I was waiting to get in over these highs again. I would have scalped it over whatever the high was. I think 1075 or whatever it was. Would have just sold off here. BDR was my next trade. If you see here, I'm having this problem again where I can't get filled, and I don't know why. So BDR is coming up. I see it just past this level, the 110 on the daily, and it's probably headed up to 130. So I was going to get in for a quick, 5 cents. My webcam is really, really dark now, too. What is going on? Figure video. Let me just fix this for you. Here it is. Okay. There we go. A little bit brighter. So, look at this. Like, there's no reason I can't get in with 600 shares. So I put my order out to buy at a limit of 125, and I'm not getting filled. I don't know why I'm not getting filled. So I cancel it. I try and get in again. I don't know what's happening. And now, the orders are starting to fill and people are getting in. So over 137, I tell myself, all right, we just broke over that daily level. Maybe I'll get in for that. So let's fast forward this a bit. But I missed the 1 minute setup again. This stock is just reacting so weird, Where do I actually get in here? So I get in for the retest of that high. It was a little overextended, so I had a fairly tight stop. What did I do here? So as it passes through 137 again, I actually get a nice fill at 33. And then, so 600 shares. I put some shares up, 200 shares at 140, instantly get filled. Another 200 shares at 40, get filled. And then when it started to dump, I should have gotten out just a tiny bit earlier because I take a loss on these shares. So I'm in at 33. 39. Yeah, so it's already at 26. I try and get out on the ask so I don't have to take as big of a loss. And I get filled at 29. So 4-cent loss on those shares. Only realized $10 on that trade. Whatever. Let me show you some of these awesome scalps I was doing here. So the first 5-minute candle to make a new high on 10x was forming. This is beautiful. So the big move up, I guess, consolidation on a doji. So when it's got the a really thin, like, what is it called? The meat or the bar of the candle. So it's called a hammer candle. So if it looks like this, then that means all the buying down here was being bought up in this candle. So the buying was in fact being bought up, or the selling was being bought up. The shares were being bought up as it fell through. So the first 5-minute candle to make a new high is typically a great entry point. So I was waiting for it to break 10 bucks. 9. So $9.99 here. So 10 bucks. I miss it by 20 cents. That's that's a pretty big miss. But since I missed it, I got out really, really quick. So you can see here 2 seconds later, I got out for like 30 cents, is that? Yeah, 30 cents. So I go from 90 to 177 profit. Imagine if I had been in at my entry at 10. So 70 cents on 400 shares, that would have been an extra $210. That would have been awesome. Now in retrospect, this also ended up retesting the high of day. I got in again for a quick scalp here over. So when it did that push there, it made a high of 1050, and I saw this thing had strength. The volume was increasing, so I said, okay, over 1050, I'll scalp it again. So 1047, 1048, 49, 50. So I got in. I somehow get filled at 42, and then as it bursts through 1050, I put my shares up at 68, get filled just like that for another 26 cents of profit. Again, only 100 shares, so I added, what was that, $30 or so? It could have been $60. That's why earlier I was saying that maybe I should have been using more shares for these scalps, because the action is still hot. This is the first 10 minutes of the day, and I shouldn't be reducing my risk quite yet. So it keeps doing its thing. See if I get in again. I think, yeah, okay, I do get in one more time. So I scalp it over this 1 minute candle, over 76, so 75, 77. So I buy 100 shares. I get a really shitty fill again at 1085. See it here. I guess I keep pointing to something that's behind the camera. You can see my fills right here. So in at 85, out at 11. That's a nice 15 cents. That could have been, you know, 20 cents or whatever if I had gotten the right entry. I gotta keep changing my camera exposure here. The clouds just keep going in and out, and I don't know, the sun's coming in, the sun's coming out. It's screwing up the whole exposure on the camera. So that's what I was doing with this trade. And yes, if I had just held on from this 5 minute candle for the retest of this high, I would have made $1 per share on 300 shares. But I wasn't completely confident in it. I could only take 300 shares, so maybe if I had 600 shares, yes, I would have been scalping and like 400 share, like sell 400 shares and then add and hold the original 200 shares. But I was, like I said, I'm using a smaller amount of shares, so I couldn't really do that comfortably. I scalp it another time. Over 1069 is this high, so we're coming up towards 1069 here, 1144. Lots of people are coming up on the bid. So 49, 50, 55, so I get in for the break of that. I actually got out before it did break. So I got out before 69. I was in at 53, out at 65 with 200 shares. See, I'm just adding some really quick profits here and there. Another 2 second. So that one before this one was a 1 second scalp. You can see I'm in and out within 1 second. And then the next one is 2 seconds. So I'm slowly gaining less and less profit because there's less and less buyers on each of these breakouts. So that's why I should have been using my max size earlier to capitalize on the bigger moves, and then as these moves slow down, I use less shares and then it just eventually stop. So what happened here? This was my first loss of a scalp. I bought in at 1050, I tried to get out, so I just bailed. I took an 8-cent loss, 8.5-cent loss on 100 shares, so I got rid of what, $8, $9, $10 or something like that with commissions. So I was like, okay, this one's done. This is typically when I start over trading and wipe away profit, so I'm just gonna leave it. The most I used was 300 shares, so I made like what, 70, 80 cents per share. That's awesome. RXII I also played, so it got halted. I saw that it was halted. And as it was unhalting here, I missed this buying opportunity. So I said, okay, over 475, it'll probably continue to squeeze. So I got in, you can see here, 66, 71, 75. So I get in for that. I get filled at 77. And I'm only using 300 shares now to protect my profits from 10x. I can take 600 shares of this, but I don't. So 89, so I'm already out. 2 second trade again for 12 cents on 300 shares. That netted me $33 in 2 seconds. So that's not bad. You know, it kept going to over $5. And maybe if I had more shares, I could be selling like methodologically or whatever it is, like on the way up. Like if I had 500 shares, sell 100, sell 100, sell 100, and maybe I would have gotten better fills. But I was, again, trying to protect my profits and not do anything crazy. Pretty much what happened. I don't think I took any other trades. I was just I wasn't really doing anything. So that's the profit for today. What a great week so far. This was by far the best day of in a while in terms not only of what I made, but of discipline. So my risk management was on point today. The speed, the scalping, all of it was on point. And I missed some entries, and I wasn't using the full scalping size that I should have been. So this, like, it could have been an over $500 day easily if I had gotten the fills and used more shares. So that's because I think I did that because of the fear of a loss. So that is a good thing sometimes, of course, but other times it can hinder your profits. So I think especially in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the day, I shouldn't be restricting my share size so much, especially with the strength that it was showing. So I followed all my rules, my size, my loss, my stop, and what a great day. So let's try and keep this up. I'm really hoping April's going to be a much better month. I'm already up almost double what I made last month overall total. So this was the week. This week right now is starting to remind me of this week. So I need to be very, very careful and keep my discipline on point so I do not have another one of these days or make it, you know, smaller by like one digit. So that maybe could have been a $400 loss. So we'll see what happens. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Subscribe if you like these videos, and you'll be alerted whenever I upload new videos. I upload new videos every day. Yeah, so have a good rest of your week.